and thank you to the previous speakers. I was listening and I've learned quite a bit. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen and we can get into this. So can you all see my screen? If you can.
Yes, we can. Yes,
Yeah. So I'm going to be taking you today on Portfolio 101, how to start from scratch and stand out, right? So a brief introduction into who I am. I'm a product manager and I build solutions for the market working with cross-functional teams. I'm sure you've had a session of product management, so you know a lot of what I do lies in strategic thinking, collaborating with like various other people in the technology industry and translating user needs into actionable products. I enjoy empowering people to showcase their unique value and get the opportunities they deserve, which is probably why I ended up working on a portfolio builder like Pages, and also why I'm here today. So the reason why this session is important is because in today's world, in today's digital world, like your portfolio is one of the most important tools in your arsenal, no matter whether you're just starting your career, whether you've gone so far in your career and you're advanced. Like, you always need to be able to show people what you can do more than tell them. And that's going to be your key to seizing opportunities. So what I'm going to be taking you through today, we're going to be discussing why portfolio matters, the steps to take, practical steps to take to build a portfolios, tips to stand out, and common mistakes to avoid. Okay, so why portfolio matters. So I know that a lot of you here today, are probably, already on that Terra, or even if not on that Terra, like you're probably just starting out in your career. So you probably have like doubts, like, oh, am I going to get a job after this degree or this certificate that I want to take, or this certification that I want to achieve? Am I going to get a job? Would I get hired? It's very competitive out there. But a portfolio helps you to showcase your skills and your growth, even if you have limited experience. It's amazing if you have a lot of experience, but even if you have limited experience, you're still able to show that once given the opportunity, right, you can actually do these things because you've done them, whether in projects that you've, gotten from your educational institutions, projects you've taken on your own, or just things that you do. Like, you're able to showcase these skills and why you're a perfect fit for whatever company that you want to work at. So a portfolio also helps you stand out in a competitive job market. Like, the job market, especially the tech job market, I don't think it's ever been as competitive as it is now. Like, so many people are constantly learning. Like Ini said, people are constantly learning, constantly evolving, constantly finding new ways to solve old problems, finding new ways to solve new problems. And in this competitive job market, a study by Workfolio shows that 56% of hiring managers prefer portfolios. Like, they see portfolios as the most valuable branding tool for a candidate, right? So, and the reason for this is because not only does it immediately show the things that you can do, right? It's not enough to just say, oh, I'm able to do this. You're able to show that this is how I did it and this is what I can do. It also sends the message that you take your career seriously, right? And that puts you in like a better position with hiring managers, or managers, whoever is going to be interviewing you, looking through your CV. So it impresses recruiters. It helps you go beyond the resume. Like, a resume is a very tricky thing, because, like, you've probably heard, like, a hiring manager will glance at your resume for 8 seconds at most and decide if they want to read on or if they're going to like move it. So because of that, you're always advised to keep your resume as concise as possible, as straightforward as possible, not too wordy. In fact, if your resume, especially at the beginning of your career, your resume should not be more than a page, etc. But a portfolio, the rules are very flexible. You can create your portfolio to be whatever you want it to be. So you can add context to your experiences, highlight unique projects, and tell your story in an engaging way. You can add videos, posts, anything that you want. A portfolio helps you build trust and credibility. So, featuring projects that you've worked on, featuring testimonials from people you've worked with, would build trust with employers, excuse me, and add credibility to your work. And a portfolio also allows you market yourself effectively and tell your story. So, a portfolio is a professional branding tool, and you're able to present yourself in whatever way you desire, right? So you're able to present yourself as the ideal candidate, right, and control the narrative on your portfolio, versus them finding out about you in like different places on your social media, etc, in places that you can't really have control over what's going on there. So your portfolio is a chance for you to like market yourself and sell the narrative that you want to sell. So we're not going to go into building a portfolio from scratch, practical steps. So basically how this will go is I'm going to walk you through the steps, and then I'm also going to show you like examples of portfolios and how these portfolios have implemented these steps. So your first step, your very first step, well, I suppose your very first step in doing anything in your career is, or any goal or any career goal, is to clarify your goal. Like Ini said, smart goals, right? Identify your goal. What are you hoping to achieve with a portfolio? Is it your first job? Is it a better paying job? Is it a chance to work on a project? Is it whatever it is? Just be certain what you're trying to achieve with your portfolio and who is going to help you achieve this. So who are the people that you're going to be trying to get your portfolio in front of? Are they hiring managers? Are they people who are just starting out their careers like you that you want to collaborate with? Whoever that is, but you have to have a clear purpose and a clear target audience so that you can align your content with what your audience values and what you aim to achieve. So the next step is picking a platform to host your portfolio. There are so many platforms that you can use to host your portfolio. One of the platforms that I use because I worked on it is Pages, right? But then there's also other platforms. There's Notion, there's Wix. You could even build a portfolio from scratch. I know some people don't have a portfolio, they prefer to use their LinkedIn, right? So there's no one size fits all. And when we're wrapping this up, I'll be showing you what portfolios look like on these different platforms. So the next step is you want to create your best work, right? So you want to show the best thing that you've worked on so far. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to be improving as you grow, but it has to be your best. Like you don't need to put every single thing you've ever done, but you have to put the best things that show you in the best light. You have to put them on your portfolio. So an example is my own personal portfolio. So you have like projects that I'm currently working on, Pages, Taja, Wedding, and then projects that I've done. So these are things like documentation that I've written, as well as products that I've just decided to work on that are not like maybe like products that I've decided to build as hobbies, and what I'm currently reading. So you see that it's very clutter free. I focus more on explaining more about the projects that I've worked on rather than just adding every single thing I've done, because over the past year, at least not even, the past year alone, I've worked on so many different things, but you're not going to find all of that in my portfolio, because then it's just become like a cluttered mess, and my purpose will not be clear, or what I'm trying to achieve with the portfolio is not going to be clear. Then what you want to do next, after creating your best work and deciding what is going to make it into your portfolio, is you're going to start with a professional statement. So that is something like a bio, right? You could also call that a bio. Professional statement is just a fancy word. So you put a professional statement that reflects your goals and values, right? So basically who you are, what you're trying to achieve. This is my professional statement here, but I think each of these portfolios, they all have a professional statement, right? Passionate about building products that people love, and also harnessing data to drive informed decisions. About 12 years leading world-class global product groups, adapting product strategy, collaboration, and inspiring teams to create with purpose. Passionate about growing talent and creating future. So that is a clear professional statement on what my values are, what his values what his values are and what he hopes to achieve, right, in the career path that he's taking. And then you also want to add clear contact details. Like that is very important. Like that's a portfolio mistake that a lot of people make, is that they add all this great stuff to their portfolio, but there's no way for someone who views their portfolio and wants to take the next step, maybe reach out to them, maybe find out more about them, to be able to do that. So in my portfolio, you have my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and my email right here. And it's also the same for all these other portfolios. You have LinkedIn, mail, and her websites here as well. Then moving on, you want to list out your hard skills and expertise. So this one is very straightforward, right? I know Ini talked about soft skills and hard skills. Like before you get a job, you must already have certain proficiencies and expertise. So what you want to do is list them out. So she's an engineer, and at the bottom of her portfolio, she has her technical skills. So you have all these different things: JavaScript, TypeScript, Next.js, React.js, and even in the projects that she's worked on, you can see the tools that she used. So it's very immediately obvious what her competencies are, and that is exactly what you want to do when it comes to your own portfolio, is that you show the professional skills that are easily recognizable, no matter which member of your industry is viewing this. No matter which member of your industry is viewing this, you're speaking a language that they understand. Then the next step 6, is to create a content section with samples of your best work. So that's what's going to make up the bulk of your portfolio. So, like I already showed you, this is my content section with products that I've worked on or currently working on, and then projects, right? For someone like him, his content section is accessible here. So you can see like projects that he's worked on as well as this is the same thing. It's the same thing here, is select works, Paula's choice. So she's a designer, right? And she's worked with Paula's choice, Walmart creator. And again, this speaks to choosing the most important projects. Like she's been a designer for many years, but she only has 5 projects highlighted on her portfolio. Then we have mention any awards or recognitions that you've received for your work, right? So showcase accolades or honors. So again, that speaks to, for example, you have my Tech Rise, this session that I'm taking, I have it up on my portfolio because it's a recognition of my skills. You have the same thing here on this international growth consultant at Google, but she's also been in newspapers. She has also, had conferences that she's spoken at, and you have all of that listed here. So not only are you learning about her competencies or what her interests are, you can also find out more about her and the recognition that she's received for her work. And then the final step would be to include recommendations and testimonials from credible sources, right? So the people that you've worked with, maybe bosses that you've had in the past, your current employers, your colleagues, whoever, you can ask them to give an endorsement, right? So a review that you can put on your portfolio. So having someone credible, in this example, Zainab got a review or a testimonial from the CEO at Gapia. So that is a clear person that whoever is looking at your portfolio, whether hiring managers or whoever, can reach out to, in sense of like a reference. So they have someone that has endorsed you and they kind of find out more about you from. So yeah, those are the steps into building a portfolio from scratch. These are examples of tools that you can use. So I've already mentioned Pages. You have Wix. I think this one was built on Wix. Yes, so this was built on Wix. This is an example of a portfolio that was built on Notion. So you see here, she has her select work added, and she also has explorations that she's done, probably in a bid to upskill, etc., etc. You have Pages, and then you have, I think that's about it. So moving on, tips to stand out. So we've probably brushed over this while working on the practical steps. But always make sure to focus on quality over quantity. Show only your best work. Even it doesn't have to be a lot, even if it's just three, even if it's just two, like make sure that what you're putting on your portfolio is your best work, is finished, is cleaned up, and you're confident of it, because it speaks louder than many mediocre ones. If you have a lot of mediocre stuff on your portfolio, like people would not take you seriously. So prioritize impact over value. Make sure to highlight your unique skills, right? Demonstrate what sets you apart, whether it's the educational qualification that you have, whether it's the fact that you've worked on projects before, whether it's the fact that, these are your particular hard skills that you're very good at, or soft skills. Make sure to show what makes you different, what makes you unique, and then use visuals effectively. So, the rules for building a portfolios, they are very flexible. So you can add, visuals, you can add interactive elements to make your portfolio engaging. You can add videos, whatever you want. So just to create an engaging experience for the people that are going to be viewing your portfolio. And make sure to update your portfolio regularly. This is the most important step. Is remember, you're trying to show your growth and skills over time. So, your portfolio this year should not look like your portfolio next year, because it's expected that you've upskilled, you've improved, you've gotten better opportunities. So make sure to keep your portfolio fresh, and so that it shows your current competencies at the time. Then common mistakes to avoid, like we said, prioritizing impact over value. Don't clutter your portfolio with a lot of stuff, because it can distract and even discourage viewers. Like if someone's portfolio has like 20 works on there, like a hiring manager, someone that a lot of people that can give you opportunities, their time is usually very precious, so they may just like not bother, right? So try to keep it as simple as possible and clean, and then choose only your best projects. Inconsistent branding or messaging. So I know that like a lot of us outside of the tech roles that we're trying to pursue, or whatever our interests are, we probably have like other things that we do, other skills, other competencies. Maybe you run a business, maybe you're also a student, maybe that you do humanitarian work, but you don't need to put every single part of who you are in your portfolio. Like the branding has to be consistent. Who you are has to be consistent. Okay, you're a product manager, not a product manager and an actress and a jeweler and a content creator. And then your projects should reflect that, and also reflect like your goals for this. So that doesn't mean you can't have separate portfolios for all these different aspects of your life, but that is better than having one cluttered portfolio that whoever is viewing it, they can't really tell who you are or what you're trying to do or what you're able to do. I also avoid oversharing irrelevant or unfinished work. We've talked about that. I know I keep iterating on that, but it's very, very important. Like less is more. Choose only your best work, and don't worry about the rest. Missing contact information. So always make it easy for people to reach you, clear and accessible ways that people can get in touch with you. And you also want to make sure that your portfolio is mobile friendly. So we're in the digital age, a lot of people are getting their stuff done on their mobile phones. And you want to make sure that if your link if the link to your portfolio lands in the hands of someone that can offer you an opportunity, they should not need to now go through the stress of running it on their computer to be able to see. So whatever platform that you choose, you have to make sure that it is mobile friendly. And a good way that you can check that is, when you create your portfolio, you can just see what it looks like on a mobile screen. And you see that this portfolio is still very clear, very legible, very functional, even though it's on a mobile screen size. So yeah, those are the tips and tricks to build your first portfolio from scratch, stand out, and launch your career. So does anyone have any questions? Any questions? Any comments?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Latifat. I thoroughly enjoyed this section, and I love the fact that you made it well detailed and very easy for us to understand. I mean, like the tips were really well detailed. for beginners trying to create a portfolio. Right. So, are there any questions? We can raise our hands or share them in the chat box. Okay, so while we wait for others to share their question, I'd like to ask Latifat for um a beginner going into social management skill, right? What do you think, or what would you suggest they include in their portfolio? Like, I mean, after learning the skill and trying to build a portfolio, what would you suggest they include in the portfolio?
Okay, so just to get you right, are we talking about social media management?
Yes, yes, social media management.
Okay, right. So I think I have an example of a portfolio for a social media management agency, and then we can use that as a starting point. So basically, when you're creating, a portfolio for a social media management role, right? You want to show maybe social media management uh, uh, accounts that you've worked on or grown in the past. And this doesn't necessarily have to be like employment roles. It can even be your own personal, it can be your own personal social media that you've grown, but something that shows that, oh, you're aware of the skills that it takes to grow a social media account, and then a social media account that they can actually check out to see what your work is like and how you approach your work. And then you can also put like stuff like inspo, right? So in this for this agency now, they have these things that they call feed plans. They have these things they call feed plans, and then is so what a feed plan is basically like a guide, right? They have like different prompts, and then they have a guide. So an Instagram feed plan for a jewelry brand, where they walk you through, like, if they were growing a social media account for a jewelry brand, these are the things that they would do for the feed. So this is the first. Oh, does someone say something? Okay, in a second, please. So this is the first 9 posts. So they're saying, in this post, show of your packaging, a professional shot, user-generated content, a flat lay of the jewelry products, user-generated content. So this is basically like a content calendar for your first 9 posts. And then this is an example of what that content calendar would look like. So you see that the images here, they match the text instructions that are here. So that is another example of something that you can put is a feed plan. So again, sorry, excuse me, you don't need to be employed to put a portfolio together, regardless of what industry or what career path you're pursuing. Like, you don't need to get your first job before you start putting a portfolio together. I went to an edtech school, and before I got my first job, my portfolio had projects that I'd worked on while I was, getting that certification. So you can also add an about us section, and then contact information, because that's very important. So if someone wants to put together a social media management portfolio, that is what I would advise. So I know someone had a question. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much. IDG, you can go ahead with your question.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for taking your time. So mine isn't much of a question, but some sort of contribution to
Okay.
the last question with regards to social media management and portfolio. I mean, social media manager having is our portfolio. From my experience, I mean, I've worked with a content manager, a content writer, and on his portfolio, um, he has I mean, it create content for brands like Access Bank, for instance, and some of those content are on their social media. They also have graphics for those social media. I mean, for those content that he has created, right? So, um, sort of showcasing visually what you have done is also a very good way to showcase some of the things that you have done. If or a social media manager that create content or manages the community, you can show some of the visuals of some of the things that has gained a lot of traction on um, on um, on the platforms that you have used them on. I'm showing some of them and showing their numbers can also go a long way to help any recruiter to see or how good you are, because it's really, I mean, just like you rightly said, the recruiters don't really have so much time to spend on a portfolio, right? But when they see visuals, it probably just catches their attention. Sheyo Lawi is one of my usual used to be one of my mentors, and he creates content. But when you go to his page, it feels like he does more than content because he has a lot of things. So that's my contribution.
Thank you so much, IDG. Like that is very, very valid. Like I said, you have to make your portfolio engaging, and that's what makes like portfolio building so great. Is that the rules, they're not as rigid, right? So anything that you want to do to make your portfolio engaging and attention grabbing, maybe a video of yourself, interactive elements, etc. And there are lots of platforms where you could play around and explore, like all these different interactive elements that you could bring into your portfolio. So thank you so much, IODG. I know that someone asked a question: does the platform have to be tailored to a particular tech skill, or is there a platform that cuts across all tech skills? Yeah, most platforms cut across all tech skills. So there are platforms that are made for with a particular set of professionals in mind, right? Maybe if you're a graphic designer, etc., like their platform for that. But most portfolio building platforms cut across all tech skills. And a very good example is the products that I personally work on and lead, which is Pages, right? So on Pages, you have like different types of people we have different type of people on our platform. I'm a product manager. This is the portfolio of an engineer. This is the portfolio of another product manager. This is the portfolio of an international growth consultant. This is the portfolio of a social media agency, right? So Pages is a very, very good place to start. I think I could even put the link to that in the chat box. So you guys can click on the link and also check it out. But Pages.co, that is a very good place to start hosting your portfolio. So yes, are there any other questions or comments?
All right, thank you so much, Latifat. For those that are currently learning a course on Terra Learning, you can also build your portfolio via the Pages card on your dashboard. So that has been included on your dashboard, so you can build your portfolio through that. I would also like to include that Terra Learning also has a boot camp where you can build projects to build your portfolio, to include them in your portfolio, right? You work on projects that cuts across your skill, and you also get to collaborate with various people across different fields to build a project. And the bootcamp will be starting on the 6th of January. So you can as well register via the Terra Learning website link. All right. Thank you so much, Latifat.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. And I'm sure like each and every person also enjoyed this section. If you would also like to ask Latifat a question, you can include that in the chat box. Latifat, would you also like to share your LinkedIn profile so that we can all connect with you and ask questions when we need to?
Yeah, so my LinkedIn is Latifat Lawal, right? So you just search Latifat Lawal on LinkedIn and I'd come up. My Instagram is products.babe, and then I could share the link to my portfolio in chat because my contact details are on there. So if you need to reach me, then you can. Thank you very, very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Latifat, before you go, I would like to ask, right? Because he had emphasized on being a product manager for beginners that would like to probably venture into a tech skill and are still trying to find what area suits them. Can you probably just give us like a brief summary on your journey? How has it been as a product manager?
Okay. It's been very interesting. It's been very interesting getting into product manager management, excuse me, and learning about the industry. So I decided to do product management on a whim, right? Because I found out about it. That was my very first foray into the tech industry or the world of building technology products. So I decided to venture into product management. I checked it out. I did an audit and I saw that product management matches some of my already existing skills, right? Collaboration, communication, project management, strategic thinking. And then I decided to take a course. I took a course for 1 year with an ed tech institution and then, got my certification. But, I'm like Tara probably does for many of you. While I was getting my certification, I was working on projects. I was paired with a circle, right? So a team of sorts, and we were responsible for each other. We worked on projects together individually. So I made connections that way, and then I also started to, create projects. And then when I was done with my certification and I wanted to get a job, one of the first things I did was to create a portfolio and put in some of the projects that I worked on. So the best projects that I'd worked on over the time I was getting my certification. Even right now on my portfolio, you still have like one of those projects on there. It was a strategic analysis for Nine Mobile at the time. And then it was actually that project that landed me my first job because I'd gotten recommended for for something, and the hiring manager was going through my portfolio, and then they really liked what they saw. So I got my first job without like any experience, right? But that Nine Mobile slide that I put together was enough to get my foot in the door. So that's why like I always evangelize like the importance of showing what you can do. And since then, I've worked on a variety of products. I've worked on a website builder like Pages, worked on Unboxed events management, currently working on events management platforms and wedding management platforms. As well, I've worked in e-commerce with Taja, which was like a shopping product. Korapi's first foray into the B2C industry. So yeah, and it's been very exciting. I'm constantly learning, growing, and evolving. So that is my career so far in a nutshell.
That's really, really great to hear. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, right? I'm sure that we all listened to Latifat while she was speaking, right? She had emphasized on building a portfolio that showcase your skills, right? And also networking is the main purpose of this event is for us to network, build a community, right? So let us network with each other, learn from each other, right? So thank you so much, Latifat.
Thank you for having me. Have a lovely day, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much. Finally, our